Melbourne, they have now been taken into quarantine and are currently in hotel guarded quarantine here in Brisbane. They have been tested and we await their results for that. All three have been issued with notices to appear for false declarations, and there are ongoing investigations in relation to that matter. We've also seen another on-the-spot fine issued at in southern region, which is around our Gundawindi area, for a person doing a false declaration. It's really, really disappointing that, given where Victoria is at the moment, and we all know what's happening there, that people in our community are still telling lies and deliberately trying to mislead the system so they can get back into our state. The fact that they have been in Victoria is something of grave concern to all of our community. What we really need people to do is to disclose that. The worst that can happen is they have to go into quarantine for 14 days. They don't get in prison, they don't get fined with anything. But what they're doing by telling lies deliberately is having themselves charged with criminal offences and now having to front court down the track and then answer for their actions in a court of law. That, to me, seems to be very unacceptable behaviour. What I can say to you is that we'll continue to take that very strong line on people who deliberately deceive the system in trying to get into this state by not declaring that they've been in a hotspot. And it is with great, as I say, it's very regrettable that in the last week we've seen 10 persons issued with such notices, and there is another 4 under investigation at this moment. Thank you. Well, I can't answer for what's happened at that border. Lane, obviously, we're doing our investigations in collaboration with both our colleagues from Victoria and New South Wales, so we're still unpacking this. This has only happened in the last few days. So the investigation is ongoing. We will definitely look at that. We'll definitely be talking to both sets of authorities around how that might have occurred and trying to work out whether the system needs to be addressed. But I think any system in the world, including our international borders in normal times, that people who criminally deceive their way through, it's a problem for us. So Queensland Health are very, very good at their rapid response. That's in play at the moment. So those persons, their backgrounds and that will be done, but we've got to wait for the outcome of the tests, of course. I'll leave that to Jeanette. No, they were intercepted after they've come back into Queensland in Brisbane. So as a result of the testing, that's what set the alarm. Yes. So they came in on Sunday. So this all happened yesterday, that we came to our attention. Sure.
No, the first thing, I need the result. So I need to know if they're positive or not. So that's the very first thing. But already we've got people aware in Logan that this is a high-risk situation because of the other 3 who went down to Melbourne. So it hasn't changed anything for Logan. People just need to, if they're unwell, to immediately come forward and get tested. So we've already put all the restrictions on the aged care facilities, so there isn't any more we need to do, just that people need to make sure if they're unwell, get tested. Later today. It'll depend what happens over the next week, over the next 6 days, as I said yesterday. We just have to see what other cases we get. If there's any sign of any community transmission, then unfortunately those aged care facilities will have to remain closed to visitors. Exactly. Yes.
Well, my understanding is that the gentleman came in to Sydney, had the DFAT letter, but had a exemption from New South Wales. I'm happy to clarify that for you, but my understanding was that it was a New South Wales exemption to leave Sydney to travel to Queensland. I think those questions are better put to the federal government, but what I can say is that I understand that there was a letter that was provided on DFAT letterhead. That letter plus the letter from New South Wales, which granted the exemption, has now all gone to the Queensland Police.